Okay, welcome back to Sorry We're Booked. I'm Jessica,
I'm Lainey.
and today we are diving into Iron Flame. So if you're here today, you probably just listened not long ago to our very long and probably chaotic,
All over the place.
all over the place recap of Fourth Wing. And we're doing this because any day now, at this point, Onyx Storm is probably out.
It's probably out.
It's probably out. So we're doing this as like a recap for y'all, but honestly, more for us.
Ourselves, absolutely.
We've
I
been-
forgot a lot.
Yeah, we've been talking about it. We're kind of looking at our notes and we're like, do we read the same book? I don't even remember this stuff anymore. Like,
I remember like major plot points,
Sure.
which is good. But man, I missed so many details
So
where the story makes a lot more sense now.
Yes.
I'll say that.
yes, it does. And so it's just funny because when this came out, I think I said this a couple of episodes back. When Iron Flame came out, I did the audio and I was building an IKEA bookcase, like a IKEA closet. And I remember I would just get into it and I was like screwing the same screw over and over because I'm like, oh my gosh.
What's happening?
But also that because I was building that closet, I missed a lot.
Yeah.
And so you were telling me some of the notes and I'm like, I barely remember that happening.
Yep.
And I think we missed a lot of stuff in our Fourth Wing review. So we might bring up things that might not make sense if you're getting all of your Fourth Wing and Iron Flame information
Recap.
from us.
Yeah.
But do know there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this.
Yep.
So our
And at the
disclaimer-
end, that's a disclaimer for sure. And then at the end, I think we're going to go over theories
Yes.
that we have.
Yes. So again, if you have not read Fourth Wing or Iron Flame, you might want to pause. If you don't care about spoilers, you're in the right place. If we got it wrong, you're still in the right place. We're doing our best, but this is just so.
This is Lainey and Jessica's interpretation.
Yes. So if you have any concerns or complaints, we don't have an inbox for that. So too bad.
Take
Too
it down
bad.
the street.
Yeah.
Take it down the
to
street.
next time. Go kick rocks, as my husband says. You can go kick rocks. No, I'm sorry. We love you. Thank you for listening to our channel. We love you.
What we talked about this in the last episode, but I really do think I'm going to have to pace myself a lot more in Onyx Storm if I'm going to be able to comprehend most of it. Because Iron Flame, I mean, I cranked through that so quickly, and it is clear with my comprehension of what I remember versus not.
Right.
I remember very distinct things happening, and then other than that, when I was re-listening to it for Onyx Storm, it was like a brand new book.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like we talked about, so where we left off. Okay.
Yep.
At this point, they were in the war games. They're still
Yep.
technically in the war games. Violet was super injured in that.
Yep.
Liam died, which
Yep.
is Xaden's foster brother, who was guarding Violet most of the thing. Dane is a betrayer.
Yep.
He-Man
Xaden
Woman
is
Hater Club.
a secret keeper and a liar.
A liar.
Yep.
Because Brennan's alive.
Brennan's
and he
alive.
knew. He freaking knew.
The whole time.
The whole time. We know Andarna can stop time.
Yep.
And she did big time. So she's going to be sleeping for quite a bit. And Jack Barlow is dead. Is that
Yes. That's it.
it? She's a lightning wielder.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Her mom knew. That's a big... Oh, Venom and Wyvern are real.
Yeah.
That
that's
was the big
that's
one.
the big
Kind
one.
of a big deal.
The
Kind of a
fables
big deal.
are actually real life.
Are real. So that's where we left off.
Yeah.
So
Violet basically wakes up. At the end of the book, they take her to a secret place to get help from a healer. She doesn't know who she's going to meet. And it's Brennan. Brennan's the healer.
brother.
And so she wakes up and he's like, welcome to the revolution. And she's like, what the heck is happening? And she's super upset at Xaden for not letting her know about any of this. She's trying to reconcile Liam's death. She's trying to wrap her head around the fact that all these fables are real. She's just like going through it, right?
Yeah.
Sister is just in over her head, just what is going on.
yeah.
She basically gets healed. And from my understanding, or what I remember, is they talk for a little bit. They're like, nobody can know. You're going to have to really like bump up your shields because we don't want Dane touching on you. And sorry, that sounds really weird.
We really don't want him touching on you, but no, for real, we don't.
He is not to lay hands.
Yeah.
Because he would tell his dad, who is like super evil.
Daddy
and is-
Ados.
Yeah, basically the one that sent them off to their death, to the Wyvern. And so they're basically like, are you in or out?
Yeah.
And she's like, I guess I'm in.
Reminds me of that. Have you seen? Sorry, tangent. Have you seen that meme with The Rock and Kevin Hart? He's like, "Are you in or out?"
Yeah.
Kevin Hart's like, "I don't know. Are you in or out?"
In or out.
Well, I'm out. Wrong answer. You're in. That's Violet.
No option.
Yeah, no option. Violet's in it.
You're in.
Yeah, and so it ends with so Xaden is graduating. So beginning of the book, they go back. They decide to go back because again, they're still in the war games and they're technically like disappeared. Like
they're
dead.
dead. No, they're dead. They're reading
dead.
off the death roll.
Yeah,
Remember, they
yeah.
walk up. They're reading off the death roll.
So cool.
And, I know, so
Yeah,
badass.
you just like open the curtains, be like,
And
guess
Xaden's
what? I'm
like,
alive.
yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
And basically, they I don't think they give away much. They just said that they were under a really like strong attack or something like that, and then disappeared. And yeah, Xaden graduates, so he's gone, and
They immediately give him orders that
he
you're
shipped
gone.
off to the farthest
Like
camp
tomorrow. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, as far away. And we at this point we already know that Taryn and Sigale cannot be away from each other that long. So good news is that they think they're going to get to see each other like at least every week. I think they thought like Xaden's going to come visit her at school and she's going to go to the front lines, you know, every other week kind of thing. But yeah, he's like immediately leaving. Yeah. So kind of sad because well, of course for us, because we love our Xaden, but also because they're left in turmoil. Like Violet is furious with him. She loves him, but she's furious and she doesn't know if she should continue loving him or like
if she can trust him.
Yeah, if she can trust him.
Is he actually telling me the truth when I ask for it? That's what's something that bothered me in the entire Iron Flame is like he kept saying like you have to ask the right questions in order to get the truth. And I'm like, just tell her everything. You know, like why are we holding back anything at this point? You love her. It's clear. She loves you.
Yeah, ask the right questions.
Oh,
you
my
better tell me the right answers.
That would piss
so
me
dumb.
off.
That's cryptic. Well, and that was her only thing. Like her only ask was, we can continue this relationship. All I ask for is full transparency. He's like, what about 50%? And she's like, no. And so that's the whole thing. The whole thing is he's like, I'm going to win back your trust. I'm like, then tell her the truth.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty
crazy
easy
thought.
Yeah, let's try that one for size. And he's like, nah, there's got to be a different way. No, that's it. And so the whole book, like, well, not the whole book, but a good portion of it is, I'm going to win back your trust. I'm going to do all this. But I'm not going to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Until you ask for it.
Yeah. And it has to be the right question. And she's like, this isn't some freaking like Pictionary, like, or, you know, this isn't
guessing game.
Can I draw a vowel? No, it's like, come on. So anyways, they're going through that the whole time. She's still having to deal. She's seriously grieving Liam right now.
For sure.
So she's just like in it.
Yeah.
The other thing is like you said earlier, she's got to keep all these secrets of like the Venom, the Wyvern, the Revolution, Brennan, because we come to find out where she was healed is actually Xaden's home that everyone thought burned to the ground. But in reality, it's still a living, and that's where the underground network is. Kind of like the District 13 or whatever in Hunger Games.
It's like funny that I thought the exact same thing. Yeah.
It's like we're like this, you know.
I know.
And so it's what is it called? Oh, I have it somewhere. What's his home called?
Oh goodness. Oh goodness.
I don't remember.
We'll put it in the notes.
Yeah, we'll put it in after the fact.
There's just so many names.
Aricia? Is that what it is? Aricia.
Maybe.
Aricia.
I think so.
That sounds like a name. That sounds like a thing. Aricia. Yeah. And so anyways, that's where the secret revolution. So she's having to keep all these secrets
from her friends.
Yep.
Can't tell them anything. Yeah.
I'm probably saying that wrong. But Rhiannon, who has been like her ride or die since the parapet, since the boot switch.
Yep.
She can't even tell her that. And Rhiannon's like her kind of her leader now, right?
Absolutely.
Her
she's the squad squad leader.
Whatever.
Yeah, and then Dane is wing leader. So that's interesting because he's like having to give her commands and tell her what to do, but she's like really upset with him because he betrayed her. Yeah. And then she just has to go back to Biscayeth like everything's normal. But behind the scenes, we know that she's trying to figure out how to fight the Wyvern and the Venom, which one of the ways is there's these journals, right?
Yes, of the first
six writers, the founders of Biscayeth. And basically they in these journals talk about how they were able to develop and create these wards, which, backtracking, there's a ward around Basgiath and there's a ward around Navarre, right? So just 2 wards, but then everywhere else is not protected from wyvern and venom. And so basically it's Violet's goal to figure out how to raise them in order to fight the venom, and also how to kill the venom, because at the time they don't even know if they can kill them or where they come from or anything like that. So she teams up with old scribe girl, Jesinia, right?
Old scribe girl.
Scribe homie.
One
right?
of them losers. I would have been a scribe. With Jesinia, because Jesinia is very familiar with that old like lost language that it's written in. Yep. She's also kind of an expert, but Jesinia has some, expertise as well.
Absolutely.
So they spend a lot of the book trying to break down these journals to help the revolution. Then on top of all this, a big thing is Daddy Atos is yeeted out of there because we find out that her mom never knew that he was sending them off to an abandoned outpost that ended up being a trap. So she finds that out, so she kicks him out. We'll enter in a new enemy. Oh my gosh,
I loathe him entirely. Varish.
What now? I don't know what he is he like the new,
I think like assistant to the general, right?
And he's also like kind of like not a professor, but
he teaches a class, right?
I don't remember.
Know.
Well, okay, so in this year, their second year at Basgiath, there's a big secret that they don't know about until you're in it. Like, no one tells each other about this. It's like a freaking initiation. And what it is, it's like torture classes. They
try to break you down.
They try to break you. And no, they don't tell anyone about this, which why? I don't understand that portion. So it's a big secret. So they know they're going to get tortured as a group. They're going to get, and so Varish is a big part of that. He is one of those that thinks that even in all the midst of this chaos and terrible stuff, he's like, we're not hard enough on our students. We need to go harder. Like, he's one of those that's like,
push them until
yes, like you've been babying them this whole time, even though, people are dying left and right. That's part of the story that I'm always confused about is like, okay, there's not near as many dragons willing to bond. There's not near as many people making it through the Riders Quadrant. We're killing people based on certain signets. Let's add in an added element. It's like we allow students to kill each other, but in the right setting, of course. We're not animals. And then, then you have these torture classes. So he's just horrible. You get the impression, though, that it's not just about that for him. Obviously, he's a bad guy. You get the impression that he's trying to catch them in the light. Like, I don't know if he's trying to figure out if Eratia really exists, or but he's obviously on the bad side. Or if
they know that venom are real. He's always trying to figure out what they know. And so there's a couple scenes where one is like a group tortured session where it's Ree and Bodhi and Sawyer, maybe not Bodhi, but Sawyer and Riddick. That's what I'm thinking of.
I love Riddick.
They're all in there together getting tortured, and they didn't find out anything. And then, golly, the biggest one of all, Varish gets Violet alone after she rescues the journals. And I mean, she's there for like, 6 days? And he breaks her bones and then heals her and then breaks them again and then heals her, just constant. And this is the really cool part of the story where Dane kind of had a redeeming factor. They bring in Dane because they know that he can read minds. And they're like, she's not giving up the information that we want. We've got to find out. Dane, put your hands on her, find out the information that we're asking for, and basically you don't know if he's going to give it away or not. He reads her mind, and the whole time she's just praying that Dane can see what happened at the war games and know the truth. And he basically lies to Varish and is like, she's a traitor, she's bad, all this kind of stuff. Ends up going against Varish, beats him, right? Or fights him. Kills him. Yeah.
Kills him.
No. I thought Violet had the honor of killing him.
That's right.
Beats him. Xaden comes in, rescues Violet, and then gives her the honor of killing Varish. But yeah, that whole scene of the book just broke my heart because Liam was like a hallucination.
Yeah, because she was on the brink of like death.
Death.
And that's the thing. Here's the thing that I thought was interesting with Iron Flame is it kind of to me was like 2 books in one, because the whole first half is, you know, it's her second year of school, second year of college. So she's trying to navigate all these secrets, this relationship. She's going back and forth with Xaden, going to the front lines, and then him coming to visit. You know, she's ruining kind of her friendships along the way. You know, a lot of secrets and lies, but it's all in school. It's all, you know, she's trying to all during this time go to the archives with Yesenia, get this information. And then the torture sessions with Varish. All the while, there is a healer, Nolan, that is mentioned quite throughout, that she's known her whole life because he's a very powerful healer. Like you have, he's a mender, which is even bigger, right? No, menders are the normal.
Yes.
And then he's like the higher one that he can fix the impossible kind of. She's known him her whole life because she's got brittle bones, and he would fix her for any time she was, you know, injured. He's the one. Huge act of betrayal. Poor thing. Like, she's just betrayed left and right. She trusted him with everything, like her whole life. And then come to find out, Varish brings him in to heal her every time she's on the brink of death. I mean, just completely. How could you imagine? Yeah. Like a close family friend your whole life being the one that ends up having a direct hand in your torture. All the while he's like, I'm so sorry. You're like, no, you're not.
Clearly you're not.
No, you're not. But the whole story, they're alluding to how he just doesn't seem himself. He's constantly drained of power. He's exhausted all the time. Hard to come across. So that's all like part 1 of this book. And it crescendos to the end of that torture session. Like there, you know, where Varish comes in. Some big things that are happening in this torture session is they drink this liquid that ends up severing their connection with their dragons, which is a big deal. Big deal.
So Tarn doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, Tarn doesn't know what's going on during those first few things. And eventually Xaden comes. Well, they learned that is what that liquid does. So whenever it came time to the actual test, like they didn't drink the liquid, even though they wanted to, they didn't, because they knew they could still talk to their dragons. So anyways, it kind of, the first half of the book ends with him torturing her to death. My favorite part is I feel like Dane helps. I feel like Varish is dead at this point. I can't remember, but I just thought one of the hottest scenes was when Dane is like allowing one of the people that was with Varish, one of his assistants that's constantly like being terrible to her. He was like, leave now and I won't kill you. And then Xaden busts in. He's like, I don't have that same courtesy, and then kills her. And I'm like, yes, Shadow Daddy's back. Yes, I'll trust you with my life, Xaden. Like, I don't care that you lied to me. It was just the coolest scene. I was like, this is amazing.
Remember that.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
You're like, I do not. I could have that same luxury. I'm like,
snap their necks.
Yeah. I'm like, yes. But then, you know, and so this jump starts second half of the book, which is the whole revolution portion.
They go back to Xaden's home, right?
Yes. Aracia. Yeah. And it's a big deal because, here's how they break her out. This is the big deal. So I'm telling you, we're going to miss a lot of different details. It's so
we're here for the vibes.
Yeah. This would be like 6 episodes if we broke down everything. But so how Xaden breaks her out, you know, he spends like 6, I don't know. It's crazy how many hours he's spending trying to get to her. He's trying to get her released from captivity. All the while her and her team are kicking ass. Like they're
totally fine.
Yeah, they're totally fine. They're like, we got this. They figure out a way to escape because no team has ever really escaped this portion.
Right.
If they do, you get like a patch. Anyways, they're doing fine, but little do they know that Xaden is coming, and he's making a big scene by dropping dead carcasses of wyvern all across the college. So at this point, the reason why that's so important is they had been lying to their students and their country or civilization that those don't exist. So
and it's just griffin attacks.
And they're all blaming griffins and the city of Peromial, you know, something along those lines. A neighboring city. Well, he makes a big ruckus by dropping all of these carcasses. And so now you have to make a decision. Yeah. Are you a part of the revolution or the college?
Yep.
You know?
I think like half leave. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And follow them, which is super cool.
It is super cool. And I just remember like that. It was a big deal because it was finally her mom had to acknowledge what was going on.
Yep.
And and here's the crazy thing, because it's kind of like, it's all going to go back to Hogwarts. It's like, okay, when you think of Basgiath, it's kind of cut off from, the other places. So it's like sending your children off to Hogwarts,
Right.
and there's still a world all around it. So now all the students at Basgiath know that Wyvern and Venom are real, but the whole city still doesn't know. So they are racing against time, the general and all the soldiers to try to keep it quiet. And they're saying, and whereas Violet and her ragtag group of rebels, are saying, no, let's make a choice. Like this fight is coming to us.
Right.
Everything you've thought about Griffin and the other city is not true. Like, we're really actually fighting Wyvern and Venom. Our wards are faltering. This is a big plot of this book, is our wards are weak.
Yeah.
Weak. And then, in the midst of all this too, Jack is actually alive.
Yeah, he comes back.
He comes back.
Resurrected.
Yeah.
Apparently he got like the healer of all healers that was
Nolan.
just going to town on him for like months
Right.
and healing him from that crushed rock or whatever.
Yes.
So
and he comes back
alive.
Yeah, and he tries to act like he's redeemed, like
I'm a
actually
good
like
guy
you.
now.
Yeah,
I'm just misunderstood.
I'm just a good guy. Yeah, I'm just a cool guy. Just a cool guy. Yeah, and he's obviously the worst thing since Satan, but he's awful. But anyways, so he comes back into it and tries to be a nice guy. All hell breaks loose. And you had to decide, are you going to go with the revolution or stay at Basgiath? The one thing that breaks my heart about this is, like, first off, I'd like to think I'm someone who'd be like, I'm part of the revolution. Again, that's assuming I'm still alive at this point. Probably not likely.
Bold assumption for myself as well.
Bold move, Cotton. So yeah, I assume if I was alive, like, oh, you want to join the revolution. What breaks my heart is it ends up being like the dragons can decide. Yeah. And there's some people that want to be a part of the revolution and their dragons won't let them. That kind of made me sad.
Yeah.
It's a little thing.
I thought that was sad as well.
Yeah. So they go on this revolution.
Yep.
And they go to where? Aracia?
Yeah, Xaden's hometown, which they thought they've been told this entire time is just like pummeled to the ground, basically. But it's this beautiful giant fortress where they basically start doing, Basgiath College, but just from Aracia. So they have classes, they have teachers, all the things. They're preparing. They're trying to figure out how to raise the wards. They're trying to decipher the journals, all the things. And from what I remember, Violet, her and Justinia figure out that in order to raise the wards, they need the 6 most powerful dragon riders, their blood, as well as the fire from the most powerful dragons. And so it's blood mixed with fire to get on the ward stone. And they basically try, they all slit their hands and put it on, and it doesn't work. And they figure out that it's going to take the fire aspect as well as a luminary to even increase more of the fire to basically direct it onto the ward stone and make it more concentrated. So then they have to go and talk to the guy from Promethiel, right? And he gives over the luminary when he sees Violet wielding lightning and, showing off her power and stuff like that. He gives over the luminary. And then on top of that, the big revelation is that we find out that Andarna, who this entire book has been in this deep, deep, deep sleep, and Violet's been tortured because of it, because, she's not showing up for formation.
Right.
They don't know where she is. Violet's keeping it undercover because they know that she's growing and she's been asleep for 650 years and she's part of the, the cure for all of this. They know that she's going to play a really big part. And we find out that she is, when she becomes her full self, the first time ever, a 7th breed of dragon that we've never seen before.
Yeah, and it's crazy because when you go back, you see all the references and you don't realize it. Like, for example, in the first book, she's always a gold dragon, a gold dragon, tiny gold dragon. And then in book 2, she grows quite a bit because she was forced to use like her, baby powers essentially that are kind of chaotic. And so throughout the entire book, Violet keeps getting her color wrong. She's like, she kind of looks black. She kind of looks blue. She kind of gives off a red shimmer. It's like she's not a color.
Right.
And then that's how they kind of, at the very end, it kind of clicks for her of, oh my gosh, like she's
the 7th breed.
The 7th breed, because it all comes down to the language of like, oh, it's blood magic, and then they're like, oh, it's the fire. It's like the eternal fire.
Right.
She's trying to figure out what that means. And so in order to raise up the wards, because the wyvern and the venin are coming, like they're on their way. It's like, while they're at Eratia, it's kind of like it's a secondary, it's a rebellion college, you know? So Xaden's on this executive team with Brennan and these other huge generals trying to figure out how they're going to combat the wyvern and venin.
They're teaming up with griffins.
And start to invite them in too, to that college. I mean, it gets messy. It gets messy during this time, because all the while, the big portion of this, the romance, what we're here for,
right?
All the while Violet's still having trust issues with Xaden, because guess what? He's still not telling the dang truth. And we come to find out he's kind of in a way like a king of his own, house, because his dad was, the leader. And so technically, like, this is he's like, welcome to my mansion. And this is also where we're going to have the school, and also kind of royalty.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of the king if I want to be.
Just drops that casually.
Yeah, just drops that casually. Has his own throne, which we all know about the throne.
Corey, if you're listening to this.
Corey, if you're listening to this. What is it? My house, my chair, my woman. Yes. You're like,
melts.
Anyways. Then like another messy part is the person who has the luminary is kind of a king of himself, whose daughter
is
Kat.
Yep.
Is actually Xaden's ex-fiance.
So there's a whole, probably a couple hundred pages of them going back and forth with jealousy and Kat trying to say like what her and Xaden used to do, and I taught him that trick, like all this just kind of catty,
that trick, by
literally
the way.
catty stuff.
Yeah.
And finally,
her power,
absolutely,
is to heighten emotions.
Yes.
Her signet power is like, if you're even remotely jealous, she can turn it up to like a 10.
Yep.
So the feelings are like
really amplified.
Yeah, really amplified. Which is just awful.
Yeah, we find out that Xaden basically tells Violet, and he's like, we were only betrothed for political purposes.
Yeah.
So don't worry about
terrible.
it.
Her and Jack should be a thing.
Ooh. Interesting.
They're terrible together. Yeah, they'd be awful.
Her and Dane. Interesting. No. I don't know. I'm just setting people up. The most like unlikely pair. I'm like, now Keys.
no, Keys. No. Oh yeah, no, she's terrible, but she's also a Griffin rider. And so she's kind of like, one of the leaders, because she's kind of royalty in her own way. She's kind of the leader of the Griffins riders, whereas Xaden and Violet are kind of head of the Dragon Riders. But they're all going after the same cause. They're like, hey, we're trying to save our continent.
Right.
Whereas the people at Basgiath are only worried about the city of Navarre. They're worried about the whole continent. So they're trying to work together. They're really working to find out, okay, how are we going to defeat this? Eratia, where they're currently at, is one of the best protected areas in the world because of its. The reason why it's never fallen under attack is because it's like hard for griffins to get to, because like if they hit a certain altitude, they start to die. And so there's a reason that everyone's like, this is the safest place to be. They're going to come for us here. Well, as they're getting along the way, they're coming to find out actually the wyvern and the venin are heading towards Basgiath. Like, and so now they're having to decide, okay, we have to set up this ward. That's how they're finding out with Andarna, being the seventh dragon, that they need to really
to get on over there. And I think they talked to Melgren, right? General Melgren, who can see the outcome of battles, and he said, basically, this is a losing battle. Y'all are going to lose 1,000%. So they hightail it over to Basgiath, try to help, and oh gosh, this is the part that gets fuzzy for me. So you're gonna have to help me out.
So the venin and the wyvern, I believe, are trying to ruin the wardstone. Because if they break down the wardstone, then the venin and the wyvern can infiltrate Basgiath and get the wardstone. Like I don't know
the power.
The power.
Within.
Well, one of the things that we find out at this point is good old rusty, crusty, dusty Jack Barlow ends up being a key figure of getting the wardstones either broken or captured, because it turns out he's a venin. He's a venin. So part of the reason why, he's just evil. He's just evil. So he's had a big kind of hand in all this. So Violet figures out, oh my gosh, we need Andarna. We need to go. They ultimately decide to reset the wards at Basgiath. So they're all racing over there, fighting all that fun stuff along the way. One of the things is, so they do have to kind of give their own blood, I think, like slice their hand, put it on the wardstone or whatever it is. And then all 7 dragons are like breathing fire into it. But one of the things that happens is when Violet does it, it's going to drain her. She's
going to die.
She's going to die.
Yeah.
Like that's part of the sacrifice is you need to be the ultimate sacrifice for it. And this is where... You either love her or hate her.
Yeah.
Her mother comes in and says, no, this is the way, like, let me do this for you, and sacrifices herself.
She dies.
Yeah, she gone. How'd you feel about that?
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah. How'd you feel about the mom? Did you think that redeemed her at all?
Oh, I don't know. It's one of those things where you're like, okay, now you show up. You know, I know she probably paid the ultimate sacrifice, but I don't know. I kind of, but kind of not.
Nah, I still hated her.
Yeah.
And I say that, I mean, okay, that sounds so vicious. Like, because she also is like, you know, once you're a mother, you'll understand the things you do. I'm like, I am a mom and I don't understand what she did. I'm like, I'm not going to be like, you know, this will make you better by putting you in a situation that you're probably going to die. What a great mother.
Yeah, right.
Mommy dearest. No, like it just didn't redeem her for me. And like her siblings all come together and cry and everything. I get it. That's your mama. But at the same time, I'm like, she
kind of wasn't a mom.
She kind of wasn't. You know, there's some other things throughout that maybe I don't know. It'll come into the theories, but like, she was just terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she's not as bad as General Milgren and like Varish and all them, but still, she wasn't fully redeemed. Just I know she gave her life, but
could totally see that.
Yeah, but it didn't
totally redeem her.
It didn't totally redeem her for me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we find that out. We also find out Jack is Venom. All the while, this is kind of happening in the background because we love a good miscommunication and anger.
And this is the biggest thing of all.
Yeah, is with Xaden.
Yeah.
You find out he has a second signet.
Yep.
And the second signet is he's intrinsic.
Yep.
Meaning he can read
intentions.
Yeah. So he's a kind of intrinsic. So you find this out in book 1. If intrinsic is an immediate death power, a death sentence. If you can read people's minds, you're automatically killed.
You're
and it happens. Yeah. A student at Basgiath can't control the thoughts. Like he's screaming through the courtyard, like I can hear everything. And they like immediately snap his neck. Like he gone.
Yep.
So Xaden had to keep this a secret. He's a kind of intrinsic, meaning he can't read thoughts, but he can read intentions. So there's a lot of alluding if you go back and read the second book of like, he could just sense that she was upset or something. And you're like, oh, is that true love? No. He pulled a Dane. He lied to her. He lied to her.
Another thing.
Another one. That's why he's not my ultimate book boyfriend. Like he just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I talk about him, he starts to go down a notch.
I know. You start to realize all his flaws and you're like, maybe he's
I mean, you're hot, but is that it? Is that it?
But now we're about to see a whole different side of him because so when they're out on the battlefield, basically, since he's intrinsic, he can see that Violet's intentions are to sacrifice herself for the greater good. They're losing bad.
Yeah, the Wyvern and Venom are at Basgiath.
Yep.
They raise the wards.
Well, because General Sorengel sacrifices herself.
Oh, that's at the same time.
Yeah,
okay,
same time.
It's at the same time.
But
they're downstairs.
Yep.
Her mom, and some other people are downstairs with the ward. Meanwhile, Taryn, Sigale, Xaden, Rhiannon, all of them are up there fighting and losing bad. Because she can feel it. Anytime Sigale or anytime Taryn is
gets
like
hurt angry
like,
or
and he's
hurting.
Yeah. So okay, that's happening.
Yep.
So two different things happening.
So Xaden can see that Violet's about to sacrifice herself and basically decides upon himself like, hey, this is a losing battle. This is the only thing that's going to save what we got. And so from my understanding, he takes the power from the ground.
Because he's out. He's out of power. He's like out of his own dragon's power. Like him and Scale are kind of at the end of it.
Yep, they're at 0%, and it's the big revelation at the end that he turns Venom. So
womp womp.
basically, from Violet's perspective, the wyvern and the venom start retreating. She thinks the ward stone worked. She goes up there and she's like, hey, we did it. This is
Everything's
awesome.
happily ever after.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is cool all the time.
And then Xaden turns around and he's got like the bloodshot eyes making him venom. And so that's how it ends. And then
is it this part where,
Yeah.
the way he reveals it,
I know.
crushed me.
Oh.
Great, Rebecca. Well done.
Well done.
Well done. Is this when he's like, how long do you, because they finally say they love each other at some point in this book. And he's like, how long do you think it takes you to fall out of love with someone? She's like, I could never.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and he's got the bloodshot eyes and he's like, 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
Something.
Is all
And you're
it
like,
took. I know. It broke my heart. Yeah.
good writing. Well
Yeah.
done, ma'am. Well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just heartbreaking.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then at the end, the last chapter is from Xaden's point of view. And it's basically him visiting Jack Barlow saying, what is the cure for this? And Jack says, basically, there is no cure.
Ain't
This
nothing.
is, you're going to be hungry for power. Basically, this is the best thing to happen.
Yeah.
for
He's
you.
like, welcome.
We're brothers now. That's the last line.
Yeah. Besties.
Yeah.
It's like,
So I don't know which one was a bigger cliffhanger, to be honest, the Fourth Wing one or the Iron Flame one.
well, I think it's hard because the first one, you're just mad at
Yeah.
Xaden. You're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, you lied to her. There's like this huge reveal. Like, you're just mad.
Yep.
Then the whole second book is them working it out, finally coming together, finally realizing they love each other. And it's like, everyone's trust is everything's going to
Yep.
be beautiful. And then only to find out,
Yep.
the love of my life is now a bad guy. What do I do? How does that work? And then again, it's just heartbreaking because there's a lot of turmoil at the end. Like, even though everything worked out well, there's still turmoil because like even Taryn is pissed at Sigale because Taryn didn't know that Xaden had a second power.
Yep.
Like, there's just a lot. Like, so and Sigale's just kind of in her own world. So these two are mad. I don't know what's happening with Indarna right now. She breathes fire. I don't remember what happened with her. Is she gone? I don't know. She's still around, obviously. Then, Jack Barlow's still alive, but the wyvern and the venom are retreating. There's still a mythical, what is his name? Not the sage. Who's the one above him?
general.
The general of the wyvern, that we don't know how he's going to come into play.
Yeah, who he is.
Yeah. I haven't read up on what book 3 is going to be about.
Yeah.
Kind of intentionally, because I don't know where you go from here except for
How to figure out how to cure Xaden.
yeah. Because I'm going to be honest, like we read so much that like I can barely remember this book. I just know it's good.
Yeah.
It's one of those where it's like 5 stars. Why?
Vibes.
Vibes. I don't know. Read it for yourself. So I don't remember if there's still like the war happening, if they're going after another city. I have no idea.
It's my understanding that it's we're now trying to figure out the cure for venom and whether or not there even is one, whether or not they can, harness venom power to make it good. There's a whole bunch of theories on that.
Yeah.
So I'm purposefully kind of going into it blind as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Yeah, so I think with that, so it ends with, the sad of like, oh, Shadow Daddy, what's going to happen to you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now you're even more bad.
Yeah, now you're even more bad. Somehow I'm more attracted to you. No, I'm terrible. Y'all, I'm not this person in real life. I'm sorry.
In your books.
I can't wait for y'all to meet our husbands on the show and be like,
They're the most golden retrievers.
yeah. My husband listens to this and he's like, so you like the bad guys, huh? And I'll say something that he thinks is bad. And I'm like, no, don't talk to me that way. And he's like, it works on the podcast. Mom thinks you're pretty. No, I'm not like this in real life.
Our husbands.
But I love toxic men in books. So sorry. All that to say, no, we are sad. We're heartbroken. We don't know what to feel. So that leads to like the theories.
Yeah.
The fan theories.
There's
I've seen so many.
And
So
some are
many.
like really far off base, right? And then some are like, I don't know. I kind of see that, you know?
And because we read the way we read,
Yep.
we're not going in it with a magnifying glass,
No,
looking at everything.
absolutely not.
Because what I love about these books is they all start off with a journal entry of like, a recording, a recovered letter,
correspondence.
recovered correspondence. And some people like really read into that because they do tend to play into, further chapters. I'm not one of those people. I'm like, this sounds cute.
Yeah,
This
we're
sounds
just
awesome.
like backseat readers at this point.
Yeah, we're like,
yeah.
like, yeah,
Where are we going, Rebecca?
Yes, where are we going? Take us. So I don't have a whole lot of theories myself. Mine are ones I would not even like put out there because they're just not real. I'm like, oh, I think the dad's alive. Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it sounds right.
Because it sounds fun.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
I think, the mom, that's why I think the mom hid it, because I think she knew the dad died from being a venom. I don't know.
There's so many things.
There's so many things. So I don't have theories, but you've looked up some really good
I've
ones.
looked up a couple. The coolest one to me, and this is the one I'll talk about. So whether or not this is true, we'll preface with that.
We don't know.
But it looks like somebody looked up the names of the dragons and what they mean in whatever language, that it's written in, because it's an actual language that she's writing.
Really?
Yeah, it's like legit. And there's people who like pronounce the names the correct way, and we're like, iron.
Oh, Sagale.
In our southern twang. But anyways, basically, they are theorizing that by equating what the names mean, that means what their signet is. So, for instance, Gale means shadow. Xaden can wield shadows.
Them, yes.
Tarn means thunder. So therefore, Violet, exactly, can wield lightning. This is the big one. And Darna apparently means pomegranate, and pomegranate has always symbolized resurrection and life everlasting. So this person says this is clearly a pattern. Some people are also saying that Liam's signet is ice because he is wielding ice in the battle. And day means ice. So if the name's the dragon means the signet that they channel, and Darna basically means bringing someone back to life. And it's quite clear then that Violet's signet is resurrection.
Dang. I need to eat more pomegranates, apparently.
Yeah, right?
I did not know that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
She
But
can wield
that was the
pomegranates.
coolest one that I saw, where I was like, man,
That is
if
cool.
Rebecca's like behind the scenes, just orchestrating all of this, that would be super awesome.
Yeah.
And then it might tie into like, Liam being a hallucination. Maybe he's not a hallucination. Maybe
I
he
would love
pops
for him
up
to
when
come
he
back.
needs to.
I would
Yeah.
love that.
Something like that. So there's so many theories out there, and it's hard not to get just like super overwhelmed with them. And partially I blame the theories for confusing what I remember about the
100%,
books.
100%.
Because it's like what's real and what's not.
Yeah, because some people, like, their videos are so convincing that I'm like, that's what happened, and that's not the case. Like, that's not canon. Rather. So I know one of the other ones I've read is, and I could be remembering this wrong again, but one of the new characters in this book is Eric, and he is the son of the king of someplace, I forget where, of Navarre. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But Violet grew up with him, like they're friends. So some people theorize that there's two brothers, there's two princes, and the older one might have been Violet's ex, and that's why she knows Eric so well. So some people are saying like, oh, he's going to come into the picture and be part of the love triangle. I'm like, well, isn't that like a love square? Because where's Dane in all this? Because Dane's also on the good guy, and then it's like a trapezoid. Because then you add Eric. It's like, okay, who we happy with right now? Like, who we going after in this book?
Crushing on?
Yeah, who we crushing on? And then there's others that say Xaden's like actually not going to be the one at the end, which I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. I love and hate him. Yeah. Like he's not
got his
perfect.
flaws.
He's got his flaws. I can
Don't
change
we
him.
all?
I can change him.
Yeah, there's so many things out there. I'm going into Onyx Storm. I'd love to see a jealous Xaden, because we saw a jealous Violet, all of Iron Flame, that I would love like some other male interest for him to like get angry and violent over. I think that'd be awesome. But yeah, other than that, I don't know what to expect from the book.
I don't either. I'm hoping we get a lot more of, I feel like, and I'm pulling this out of nowhere, I feel like we're going to get a lot of Xaden's point of view, or because I think he's going to really be internally struggling with the want and desire for power now that he's a Venin, and trying to stay rooted in love and in pureness. And I mean, it's always going to come down to good and evil, love and hate. So I
maybe
am hoping
maybe we'll get more from Xaden's perspective.
I hope so, because I liked because at the end of book two, they do give him the last chapter is his point of view, and I loved it. Yeah, I would love his point of view. Yeah, I really would. Either way, I think she's gonna have to do a good job with that, because I think there should be a lot of turmoil of he's because even Jack alludes to it of you're gonna want
the
that power.
Yeah.
So I want to see him struggle between his desire for power and his desire for Violet.
Yeah.
And then I don't know where Violet's gonna be in all this. I don't
Yeah.
know if she's like, I don't know. And then where's Taryn and
the
Sigale?
second signet.
And Darna's still,
Yeah.
you know, an added element because she doesn't still have her second
Right.
signet. So it's like, how big of a role is Indarna going to be? There's going to be 2 more books after this. Where are we going?
Yeah.
She's still not even in her last year of Basgiath,
Yep.
if Basgiath is even going to exist anymore. Now you also have Aracia is out in the open. So like, where
The
does
mom's
that
dead.
factor?
Who's in charge?
The mom's dead. Who's in charge? Then Xaden is like a king of his own thing,
Yep.
but he's now a Venom. I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna go. You're gonna go along for the ride with us. Buckle up, Buttercup. I don't know.
We'll do a maybe 2-part.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah,
I
because we're
feel
gonna
like
be
at that
figuring
point-
it out with y'all.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be our February read.
Yes.
So at this point in time, we're already reading it.
Yep.
By the time you're watching this, we're already gonna
Read
be
it
in
with us.
Read it with us. Yeah. Leave us comments and let us know what you're thinking so far.
What your
and
theories are.
yeah. Let us know on this video what your theories are if you haven't read Onyx Storm yet. But we're probably missing a lot.
That's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. Read it for yourself then, okay? If you're
Figure it
looking for the whole story, this ain't it. We're just
Yeah.
trying to give you a recap of what we thought. But we're really excited for
Super pumped.
Yeah, super pumped. Like I don't know. All I know is I'm going to try to pace, slow down, because then I'm going to have to be depressed for like 10 months afterwards. I don't know when her next
Because
book
I don't
is
think
coming.
she's set a release date for book 4.
Rude.
Yeah.
Rude. Like, come on. But anyways, so we're looking forward to that. Thank you for listening to this.
Absolutely.
It's a chaotic ride, but that's
That's
the,
us.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the love of reading.
For the love of reading.
That's why we're here. So yeah.
Thank y'all so much. Check us in the next one, and
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Send it to your friends and family.
we'll talk to you.
We'll talk to you
later.
soon. Talk to you later.
Bye.